Hello and welcome to HD Revit. In this tutorial, I am going to show you how to model this house step by step in Revit. But before we go there, I'm going to talk about the architecture behind this house so that you might have an idea of its design. So I'm going to talk about the program, we'll talk about the materiality and the affordability and sustainability aspects of the building. Then we are going to model together this house step by step. So if you are a Autodesk BIM user or student, you are an architecture student, or you are simply someone who is interested in housing and BIM, then this is the right tutorial for you. Now let's get started. But before I continue, I'm going to make a little disclaimer. Everything I say in this tutorial is my personal ideas, so it is not a standard, but it might be helpful to you depending on what you want. Okay, let's now start with the program. Let's use this diagram here. This house has 3 bedrooms with 2 baths, have a self-contained living room. So by the self-contained living room, I mean the kitchen, the dining, and the sitting area. Then you have the parking, have the lobby, then you have the service terrace, which contains the drying area and laundry, and then you have the storage. Lastly, we have the strategic placement of gardens around the building. Now let's talk about the arrangement and the circulation. I'm going to use this diagram here, and the circulation is actually obvious, as you could have seen on the plan. You have the access road here. You come and you park on this side, then you walk all the way to the lobby here, and from the lobby you have access to the living, to the master bed, to the living, and to the 2 bathrooms. You also have access to this kids room here, and from the living room you have access to the guest room and to the lobby, to the laundry area, and also to the storage. Now let's talk about materials and structures. Let's go to this diagram here. In most of the cases, I try to use the locally available material as possible. Now, the foundation is made of natural stone. As you can see when I go to detail, is natural stone soldier, and the floor is actually generic. By generic, I mean the concrete, the stone aggregates with the cement layer on the top. The walls, most of the walls are stack walls here, like you could see on this one, and is made of 2 layers. Let me go to edit type in here, and then I'll go to structure to edit structures, and I will do the preview to show you what it means. The wall is structured like this. We have this generic wall, but by the generic wall we have the compressed earth block wall with a plaster layer. Here the plaster is visible on the inside, but it has to be also on the outside. Then we have this 60 centimeters kind of plinth, which is waterproof to kind of prevent the water penetrate inside the wall. Let me cancel this one for now and continue with the roof and then the ceiling. The roof is a very simple flat roof made of at least in our country we use the corrugated metal sheet, which has many categories and types. And the ceiling is not just a ceiling, but it is a roof soffit, which has the same angle as the the roof, and it can be made out of wood or also gypsum board, which is imported but we at a cheaper price, at least in my country. And then the edges is going to be the roof fascia, which can be metal or wood also at the same time. And this wall here, it can be a stone wall or a burnt brick wall. This one is placed on the side of the kitchen for two purposes. I want the polluted air to be evacuated out of the house, but this wall also plays another role of a thermal wall, which means it can radiate or absorb the heat. For this purpose, I prefer to use the burnt brick because it's mostly available in my country, but it can also be used as a natural stone wall. On the packing, I used the wood shading device, which is also wood is also available in my local country. Another thing I want to mention is the use of this wood shading device on the side of the packing for beautification, but the wood is also largely available in my local country. Now let's talk about the affordability and sustainability aspects in the design of this house. I know I couldn't solve all the problems, but I did two things. I made sure most of the material from foundation to the roof are locally available. And in terms of energy use of the building, I proposed the use of renewable energy system. This device you see here is supposed to be the solar panel system, which is going to be used for water heating and also lighting in the house.